So we're going to talk about the Ashes of Creation drama, but I'm going to be doing it from a much different perspective than any other video has talked about, so hang with me. It's going to get a little weird. I do apologize for making this video a little bit late. I wanted to see how the dust settled and for all of the facts to come out before I made my video. And also, I was trying to hit level 25 in the game and catch up to my guildmates who have hundreds of hours played in this game already, and I've just been behind. So let's go ahead and make a prediction. This is not a very hot take, and that is Narc is absolutely going to come back to the game. I don't think anybody believes he's truly quitting the game. I think he made a big mistake doing what he did. We'll get to that later, but the whole thing is just ridiculous. He's very obviously going to return to the game, and it's going to be comically soon. So that's my prediction. Not too much of a hot take. So let's talk about his video, some of the specific points he made in his video. Now, I'm not going to talk about his video for very long because it's been covered to death, but I do want to hit the high notes here. And the main thing is that if Ashes of Creation was coming out in 6 months, like the game was going to release in 6 months, I would absolutely be there with him ringing the alarm bells. But the thing is that this game isn't coming out anytime soon. According to their own projections, it's not like we're saying it's not coming out soon. They're saying it's not coming out anytime soon. According to their own roadmap, this game is at least 2 years away. They say they want alpha, or they want phase 3 to last 1.5 years to 2 years. That's what they're saying, which implies they've got the money to do that. And, you know, that's a lot of time, guys. Game development is not linear. Just because it took X amount of years to get from this point to this point doesn't mean it ramps up. It's exponential. It gets faster over time. Once you build one zone, it's easier to build the second zone. Once you build 2 zones, it's much easier to make a 3rd zone. Once you have the systems and pipelines and all the other things in place, that stuff comes online very quickly. The next thing we have to talk about is his portrayal of the desert, which quite frankly was a fucking lie, and I fell for it. In fact, I have a video on my channel talking about how I can understand how people were disappointed with the desert in phase 2 because I watched Narc's video and I saw him running around in what looked like the phase 1 version of the desert, which admittedly was pretty bare bones. And I assumed it just didn't really get updated as quickly as they were hoping. So I took Narc's word for it. I just assumed he was telling the truth. And then I get to level 20 and I go out to the new desert, which is very different. It's actually pretty cool what they've done. And the northern part of the desert, pretty much, I would say 70% of the desert is developed. Yes, the southern peninsula is not, which is where he shot that whole video, but he didn't bother to go and show you all the new stuff in the northern part of the desert that is there. In fact, I will include some video of me leveling up in the new parts of the desert with some of these oasis places with the Minotaurs that are pretty cool in my opinion. So his portrayal of the desert and the way he framed that was utter bullshit. Like, I think anybody that's actually been out to the desert will tell you that especially that northern part has absolutely had some work put into it, and the southern part is just placeholder, and he just decided to only show the southern part and portray his video out to be that's like the only thing that there was. And it's not like they're saying, oh, we're done with the desert, we're moving on. Like, quite clearly the desert is still being developed. If you look at the northern part of the desert and the southern part of the desert, it's quite obvious to tell where they started and where they're moving as time goes on. Just completely disingenuous. The next thing I want to hit on is the Ashes of Creation referral code. Narc made it seem that all these content creators are getting rich off of their Ashes of Creation referral code. And I heard this and I was like, what? Somebody's making money off a referral code? You guys know me and the referral codes. Crowfall referral code? Big fan of the Crowfall referral code. So I hear Narc telling people are making all this money on the referral code. So I start digging. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get on this, man. I got an audience. I gotta, cash in, right? No, dude, nobody is making any money on the Ashes of Creation referral code. From my understanding, 0 people are making real US dollars from the referral code. Now, they will be making, like, they'll be getting store credit for their referral code, but they're not even getting that right now. Right now, the referral code is just essentially tallying up things in the background for when eventually it comes online. These creators will get store credit and be able to buy stuff for free. So does the lazy peon probably have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in Ashes bucks and never have to buy anything on the store ever again? Probably. Yes, he will be able to buy every item in perpetuity until the end of the universe. And I think that's kind of okay. Store credit, whatever. Now, The reason I don't think they're going to pay out US dollars in general is because once you start paying out real money for things, you have to worry about tax forms and contracts. And I just don't think they're going to go that direction for the masses. Now, maybe eventually for some of the like specific content creators, they will have like a cash incentive program or some sort of referral kickback. And again, I'm not super against that. I mean, obviously with my past, but that's just kind of the industry standard in general for everything. Like, goddamn, everything's got a referral code, a discount code where the person promoting the product gets a kickback if they sell the product to someone. Like, that's just pretty standard. But as of right now, nobody's getting anything. I mean, literally nothing. There is zero incentive to be pushing a referral code, which is why you don't see me pushing a referral code. I would be the first one to do it. I mean, I'll put one in the description, but I have certainly not been pushing it because you don't get any money. If there was money in it, I'd be pushing the fuck out of it. That's enough of the Narc video. Let's talk about, in broad terms, why Ashes of Creation is not a scam. First of all, if this game was a scam, that would be more impressive than it being real. Because for this game to be a scam, Steven would have to mastermind this scenario where he's just sitting back, twirling his mustache, going, first what we're going to do is we're going to create a pretty engaging and snappy combat system. And then we're going to reel him in with the fake combat system. And then we're going to develop a server technology that allows for lots of players to be on screen and for it to run pretty well. And once they see the combat system and once they see the server infrastructure technology, then we're gonna pull the rug on them after they play for a few hundred hours. Like, the scam makes no sense, guys. This is not the correct order of Kickstarter scam. If you're making a scam video game, what you do is you create lots of fun art assets and everything is like pie in the sky and nothing is actually real. You don't create the combat system and the server infrastructure and the client. You don't do all the hard work and then pull the rug. It's obviously not a scam because they're doing the hard things first, guys. I don't know any other way to say it. Anybody with 2 brain cells will tell you that they're quite clearly putting a lot of money into this thing, and the order of operations that they're doing things is very important. If this game had, if this was just like a tech demo where they're just running around with one player on screen, lots of shiny art assets, and nothing of substance, then maybe I could understand that. But dude, like, we're in the game and there's like 50v50 caravan battles and like the thing is holding up. Like, yeah, there's some lag here and there, but like, I don't know, guys, like there's some bones here. Yeah, there's not a lot of meat on the bones, but at least the bones are there. The skeleton structure is there and they're slowly slabbing on some meat here and there as time goes on. Guys, there's thousands of people playing this game. Thousands. There was like 7,000 people concurrently playing on one server. There's people with hundreds of hours played. Most of the people in my guild have been playing this game for hundreds of hours. So, like, it's obviously not a scam. I think a lot of people that are pushing that this game is a total scam are falling victim to the cynicism fallacy, where if you go around your life saying everything is shit, everything's going to fail, that restaurant's going to go out of business, this game's never going to work. If you do that in life in general, statistically, you're going to be right more than you're wrong. But the problem is that you're going to be wrong when it matters most. And the longer I've lived my life, just in general terms, I find that 90% of the things I pursue and do don't work, but the few things that do work have really defined my life. And you really only need to make a few good decisions, and that will more than counteract 90% of the things that didn't really pan out. So that's just kind of how it goes in life. So just being cynical about everything is not going to get you anywhere. All right, now let's have some fun. Why is Steven making an MMORPG? Buckle up, everybody, because we're getting ready to go for a ride. So it's pretty common knowledge that Steven is a wealthy individual. Now let's talk about how wealthy people make money. So most people at Steven's level of wealth are going to be making their money through long-term capital gains, through investments in stock, or in Steven's case, from my understanding, he has a good amount of real estate holdings and he cash flows that and he makes money through that. I don't know if he sells them, the long-term capital gain, whatever. But he likely, like most people with any degree of money, is making money through long-term capital gains or real estate or some sort of income-producing asset. That is how people with a lot of money make money. But even people that don't have like crazy amounts of money, like, you know, a lot of my, you know, I make money through long-term capital gains as well, and I'm not like balling out of control. But if you really have money, that's pretty much what most people do, because that's the most tax efficient way to make money. It's a good way to make money if you have money. The S&P 500 has averaged over a 15% return in the last 5 years. And for those of you that don't know what the S&P 500 is, it is essentially a collection of the top 500 US stocks, and a lot of people invest in this long term. It's a very vanilla, milquetoast, boring way to invest long term. And that has averaged a 15% return in the last 5 years, which admittedly has been very good, but even like the low end averages typically have it at 8%. So take that knowledge. Now, let's say Steven was to be even more low risk and go with treasury bills. Right now, treasury bills pay out like almost 5%, I believe. So Steven has put $50 million into Ashes of Creation so far. And he might be putting another $50 million in, according to himself. He's put $50 million in this project over the last 8 years. If he was to have taken that money, that $50 million, and put it into the S&P 500 at the current rate of return, which what it's been for the last 5 years, he would have made like $170 million. If he would have bought low risk, like the lowest risk, basically guaranteed treasury bills, he would have made like $70 million. Guys, he is not making Ashes of Creation for the money. This is not a scam, because it makes no sense for it to be a scam. It is not worth his time or money to create a scam project to rip off 1,000 some people. Like, it makes no sense for this to be a scam. It's just not worth the time or the money to create. None of it makes any sense. If Steven was to truly want to profit the most money in the safest way, his best course of action would to be continue doing what he did to get to that point, which is buying real estate, buying stock, and continuing to expand his current positions in whatever he does. That there are so many better ways to deploy $50 million than to make an MMORPG. That may be the worst use of $50 fucking million ever, is making an MMORPG. It's actually crazy. So Steven's rich. Why not just invest in index funds or treasury bills and just ride your pile of cash into the sunset as it just grows into a bigger and bigger pile of cash? Well, I think this goes into the larger point of, once you hit a certain amount of money, that money, for, you know, expanding that beyond a certain point, it doesn't really bring you more happiness. There's a reason why a lot of these billionaire CEOs still work like 70 or 80 hours a week, because it's not about the money, it's about making a dent in the universe. They want that legacy. They want to create the thing that they are remembered for, that, you know, has impact. And I think that's what Steven is trying to do with Ashes of Creation. Genuinely, because financially, I don't see the ROI, especially when you consider opportunity cost. It makes no sense. And I think the guy genuinely just wants to make a good MMORPG. Because from a purely profiteering exercise, this makes no sense. It makes no sense to take the amount of money he's put into this game, if you were trying to make the most money. Because for Ashes of Creation to supersede the current market returns, it would have to be an unbelievable success. And even if this game had millions of people playing it, it might break even from a cash, like he'll make his money back, but he won't make the opportunity cost back. It just doesn't make any sense for Steven to be making an MMORPG for a return on investment. I'm sure he wants the game to do well and be profitable. I'm sure he doesn't want to burn $50 million and not, you know, recoup the cost. But I doubt he even expects it to recoup the opportunity cost of him buying more real estate or just, you know, doing passive index funds. The game would have to be an unbelievable success for it to do that. But there is a different angle. There is a way that I think Steven might be trying to make money off Ashes of Creation without making money off the actual game, and that is IntrepidNet. So the best thing about Ashes of Creation, in my opinion, has got to be how performant the client is, as well as how well the game does with lots of players on screen. This game is very impressive in its alpha state. Right now, the game is the most unoptimized it's ever going to be, and it runs very well with a lot of players on screen. So I could absolutely see Steven using Ashes of Creation as a way to sell the underlying technology to other video game companies. If you're not familiar with what Epic does, Epic Games for the longest time buttered their bread with the Unreal Engine. They would make games like Gears of War, they would make video games, but largely games like Gears of War were made to sell Unreal Engine. Epic Games, prior to Fortnite, made all of their money through licensing Unreal Engine. And what you do when you use Unreal Engine is you have to give Epic Games a percentage of your revenue. That's typically how the agreement works. And I think Steven, if this game is successful and if their underlying technology is good, is probably going to be selling the server meshing or whatever sort of technology they're developing for this game to have the large scale battles. Likely will try to lease that out or sell that in some way to other companies. That is the only way this makes sense. In terms of a pure ROI perspective, the only way Steven is going to make like that fuck you awesome money is from selling the underlying technology, because I just don't see it from the game. Even if the game has millions of players being, paying $15 a month and, presumably they're going to have a cash shop to recoup the opportunity cost of $100 million over the last 8 years. Like, that money could have gone so much further literally anywhere else. So knowing this information now, I think the guy actually just wants to make a good MMORPG that he just doesn't want to lose money on. I think that's the goal. I think Steven would be tickled to death if he could make his MMORPG and it had an audience and he was just green, or not even green, just in the black, like just not negative. I think he would be tickled to death. Now, some of you guys are going to say, if he's got the money and he's just doing this as a passion project, why does he need people to back the game? Why are they developing the game out in the open? Well, I think the main reason they're doing that is because they get all the earned media and the free publicity. Marketing a game is more than half of the battle of video games. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the one in 2009, had a video game development budget. The money used to make the game, $40 million. The money used to market the game was $160 million, guys. $40 million to make the game, $160 to market the game. In 2009, marketing and word of mouth and brand recognition is huge. And when you do the game out in the open like this with Kickstarters and the drama and people talking about it, good or bad, it's brand recognition and people are at least aware of your thing. And that is a lot, because think about how, a game will fail. And the number one thing people say is, oh, you just marketed poorly. They didn't do any marketing. I didn't see any ads. All that is they didn't spend enough money. That's all that means. So them doing the game like this, they get a lot of free marketing money. And also, you get the benefit of being able to get feedback in real time. Yes, the players are stupid and have terrible suggestions, but sometimes they're good. And the combat system being as good as it is probably because of how it was open from the beginning. And they got a lot of feedback on the combat. They redid the combat a ton of different times, and it's good. It's damn good. I don't think anybody can hate on Ashes of Creation for the combat. So I think that's why they're doing it. And also, if Steven wants to get seed money, it's very easy to go to an investor and say, look, I have a customer base. Like, my idea is popular. I have thousands of people that have given me millions of dollars. Can I have seed money from you? And obviously, if you're looking to invest in a project and you already see that they have a market and people that are behind their vision, you're more likely to give up the money. So again, I'm not sure how Steven is funding this with like liquidity and like, typically people that have a lot of money don't have it in cash, but maybe he's just balling. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the financing of the thing is? But I do think obviously he has a huge personal stake in this game, and he's making this game just for the hell of it, it seems, because it just doesn't make sense otherwise. All right, now let's psychoanalyze Narc. So this whole thing seems kind of weird, doesn't it? Doesn't it just seem like out of left field? The alpha just started. Alpha 2 itself just started not that long ago. The game isn't coming out anytime soon. Why is he doing this? Why all the theatrics right now? So Narc is a full-time content creator. This is something I've done in the past. So I have a pretty good idea of how much he's making and what goes into doing this. And I don't think this video about Ashes of Creation really had that much to do with the game at all, at least not directly. So I think that Narc was looking for a way to pivot away from Ashes of Creation, and that this was kind of just his vector to do it. For the last 5 years, Narc has been the Ashes of Creation guy. If you wanted to know about Ashes of Creation, you were watching a Narc video. He had 90% of the market share for all of the viewership in Ashes of Creation. Everybody watched his stuff. And when Alpha 2 dropped, I assume he probably thought his views were going to explode because now he had a game to play. He had, you know, obviously when the thing is out, surely you're going to blow up even more. Well, that didn't really happen. In fact, his views went down, which is not really a big deal because there's not a lot of game there, right? It would be difficult to be a full-time Ashes of Creation YouTuber, streamer for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. But the big thing that would ring alarm bells to me if I was in his situation is that he's losing market share. He is no longer the Ashes of Creation guy. There are tons of up-and-comers who are just eroding his market share dramatically. And I think he's kind of seeing the writing on the wall, and he wanted to pivot, and he saw this as an opportunity to hopefully pivot to a new type of content that would be more sustainable for him. And I don't know if this was necessarily the way to do it. I think Narc is in for a rough awakening. I'm somebody that has experience doing this. You know, I've done this full time. I've been doing YouTube for like 15 years. And a lot of people like to say, Zyback, you have 200,000 subscribers. How come your videos only get X amount of views? Well, it's because I've done so many different things over the years. I started with WoW, Rift, Wildstar, SWTOR, Call of Duty. I've done politics stuff. I've done real life comedy segments. Like some of my most viewed videos have nothing to do with like gaming. I've done so many different things over the last 15 years, and people subscribe for different things, and people aren't interested in everything I do. So I think Narc's going to have a hard time getting a large percentage of people to convert to his new thing, because it's very difficult to be a genuine variety YouTuber, streamer. Very few people pull it off, and I wish him all the luck, but I think he absolutely made a mistake burning the bridge he did for seemingly, I mean, he's going to make, you know, he's going to get a little bit of a payday off that video, and I'm sure his subathon did good, but it seems like a pittance to really burn the bridge the way he did. I think he's going to feel a little foolish here in a few months as more and more content comes online, and, you know, he's made his last Ashes of Creation video. So I think he saw this as a way to pivot and go out with a bang, grab a lot of attention, get some easy ad revenue. I've done it before. Shit, I've made some bait videos. But damn, that doesn't really seem like the move, right? It seems like you burned some bridges where for some short-term gains where you could have just literally just not done that and made more long-term. In conclusion, does any of this drama even matter? Does any of the negative publicity this game has gotten even hurt it? No. In fact, it might actually help. Even asmongold said this, that he forgot about the game, and now with all this new drama, he's taking a second look at it, and he might actually play it because it looks pretty fun. There are a lot of people that fall into this category because most people are just living their life. You know, they forget about things, and they might hear about Ashes of Creation through this drama, take a second look at the game, and they might not be interested, which is fine. That was already their default state, but a lot of them might take a second look, so it might actually be a net positive in a weird way. But the big thing I want to hit here is that it doesn't matter at all. At the end of the day, if the game is good, people will play it. Right now, if we found out that Hitler, in fact, survived World War II, escaped to South America, started up the Fourth Reich, and this whole time, they've been working in the shadows, creating a new MMORPG. You wanna know what the first question would be? How's the combat? Nobody fucking cares. Marvel Rivals is all the proof you need. The game was developed by an authoritarian government that has literal concentration camps for the Uyghurs, and nobody fucking cares. If the game is good, people are going to play it. NetEase could be rolling over Chinese citizens in Tiananmen Square in tanks. But dude, have you seen the Spider-Man gameplay? Dude, Spider-Man is damn fun to play. They really nailed the web swinging, the hero identity. Oh my God, they did a good job. Like, the game fucking slaps. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Steven Shariff could be fueling the server meshing technology with child sacrifices. And we see those 50v50 caravan battles, and we're like, look, man, you got to break a few eggs if you want an omelet, right? I mean, nobody cares. Nobody cares about your fucking morals or your ethics. You make a good game, we're here. We're here for it. Bring it on.
If Narc had made a video that said, hey, I think you should have communicated this better, and I think you should have communicated that better.
Yeah.
100%. That's the whole fucking point of us being open about the transparent in the first, the process of development in the first place. Like that constructive criticism not going on his stream and calling people who support the game autists and retards and banning them and just acting like a complete degenerate, right? And because, and again, I'm not trying to make any ill will towards Narc.
Sure.
Like, yes, I'm super pissed about the fact that he went and made a video that was completely defamatory.